What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be making a DIY spray foam false background and bottom for the newts. Now I know what some of you are thinking.
This is a fish channel, newts aren't fish.
But if some of you guys can recall, back when the channel started, the channel's name wasn't the Aquapapa. It was actually Aquatic Life with Blake, because my name is Blake, and I wanted to showcase like all things aquatic, whether it be shrimps, fish, clams, whatever. Turns out that the newts I have, which are eastern spotted newts, right now are in their terrestrial stage, but when they're adults, they live almost fully aquatic. So that's why we got the newts. I promise we're not turning into a reptile and amphibian channel. I promise. So since this video is about the newts, you might be wondering why I'm sitting in front of Douglas's tank. That's because Douglas is in the America's Favorite Pet contest. What this is people go ahead and vote on a bunch of different pets that people have entered. Obviously, whoever has the most votes wins, and the winner gets 2 pages in In Touch magazine, which would be awesome to have Douglas in a magazine. I mean, seriously. And also wins $10,000. Now, Douglas would be the first flower horn, probably even the first fish to win America's Favorite Pet, which I think is an awesome accomplishment. But we need your help to do that, so if you guys could just go down to the description and click the link to give Douglas a vote, that would be super rad. And if we do win, Douglas and I are going to donate 25% of the winnings to Paws. Now, why Paws? Well, in this competition, you can vote every day of the competition once for free. Or you can make a donation to Paws, which is a wildlife rehabilitation center. Every $1 donated to Paws is considered 1 additional vote. So if you wanted, you could go vote once for free, and then if you wanted to donate, $2, that'd be 2 extra votes. That day you voted 3 times. If it was 10, it would be 11 votes, and so on and so forth. But let's go get to these newts. So here we are at the newts enclosure. There's plenty of live plants in here. This is bioactive. There are springtails. There's isopods. There's a cricket, and we have 2 red F'd stage eastern spotted newts. Now this setup is perfect for newts. Well, terrestrial newts, such as the red F'd. It's moist and cool, and there's tons of live plants. These things right here, I forget what they're called, but they're actually aquatic plants that I'm growing immersed. We also have different various types of moss throughout this enclosure as well. Now it is ideal for these guys, and it does look okay, but I think I can make it better by making this false background and false bottom. Now let's get into the process of making this background and false bottom. Make sure you watch all the way through the video so you can make sure you get every step and you have all of your tools and everything else you need to do this yourself. So the first thing I did is I went out and I collected some pieces of curly maple bark. And what I did is I took some pieces and I left them. I'm planning on making a waterfall with this. And then there are some pieces that I siliconed together. To do this, you're obviously going to need silicone or super glue. Regular super glue is fine. You can use that. It will not be toxic towards the animals. Same thing with this clear silicone. And you're also going to need silicone for a later step, which we'll see in a little bit. So like I said, I collected some pieces and then I siliconed some together. The plan is to kind of have them standing up on the back, something of this nature. Something kind of like this, sitting on the back wall. And then we're going to add some spray foam to it. Then we're going to make this a waterfall. We got to add some spray foam and some more silicone, and I'm going to show you how to do that. As for siliconing the pieces of whatever you're going to use together, I kind of just put it on the bottom and siliconed it together and then made the back really tight because I didn't want the spray foam getting through certain cracks. I know there's like this hole here. I do want the spray foam to come through there and make a little bubble. You'll see why in a little bit. Same thing with this piece here. That's essentially what I'm going to do. You want to make sure that everything's going to fit inside of the aquarium the way you want to, so make sure you test fit it. I didn't test fit it. I actually put it all together right here and made sure that I was inside the lines of the aquarium. I promise it does fit. And if it doesn't fit right away, that's fine, because it's in 2 pieces. So I suggest when you guys make yours, you can put things in multiple different pieces. Don't make just 1 piece just in case it doesn't fit, because that would be really bogus. If you made something and absolutely loved it, my cricket's going nuts. But if you made something and it looked great and it didn't fit, that would be really bogus. So make sure it fits. But first things first, I have to empty this tank completely, so I have to catch the inhabitants and put them in my critter carrier. Once you get everything out of your aquarium, or if you bought a brand new aquarium, you just want to clean it out with isopropyl alcohol. You want to clean off all the areas that spray foam is going to touch so it adheres the best possible way. I don't know from experience, but from what I'm told, expanding foam does not like to stick to dirty glass, so it's pretty essential. So I've been having a fruit fly escape problem, and I found it. Good thing they have a short life cycle.
Fruit fly, huh?
So, what's it like having such a short life cycle?
It's great, mister. When I grow up,
I'm gonna wish I had done more with my life, Sonny.
Yeah, it's just this back, and that's where they've been escaping from, and I've been thinking about it, so I'm gonna fill that with silicone. So just for demonstration, I put my false bottom in, which you can also make one of these as egg crate, and it's basically just showing, it's gonna come out like right now, but it's just showing how high it's gonna be, so you know where you can place your logs, and you wanna place that beforehand and make sure that it's gonna fit. I also said I was gonna be siliconing another piece in, but I'm just gonna spray foam it in, and it's gonna be this piece right here, which I kinda want like that right there, just so I can put the waterfall in that area. When working with spray foam, you want to be in a well-vented area. You probably want to do so with alcohol as well. You just want to spread everything kind of evenly. The can says that you just want about 2 inches of thickness, but you can do more. Just keep in mind that when you add more thickness, it's going to take longer to cure. You also want to be pretty quick with this. It does harden on the outside, even though it takes 8 hours to fully cure. That's why it's so important that you know where you want everything to go, so you can get it in there and get it held in place where it needs to be. Another thing you're going to want to be sure of when you're doing this is that you're eliminating all the places where your creature could get behind the background, unless you're obviously making a little hide for them out of this. Keep in mind that spray foam is very sticky, and if it gets on your skin, it's very hard to get off, and the easiest way I've found to get it off is to take a face cloth and some nail polish remover and just start scrubbing. Once you got it the way you want to have excess foam, because you're going to end up carving some of this away, actually quite a bit of it away, at least like 50%. You want to let it sit for 8 hours to let it cure, and you can speed up the curing process by misting this with water, which I'm going to do. So I've already cut off the top. Now I'm just trying to make sure that the lid goes over this without rubbing on it too much, because we are still going to have to put some silicone and some dirt or coconut husk or wood chips or whatever we're going to be using. Now here's what I consider to be the hard part, and that's making what's left of the foam look like rocks. What I kind of do is I look for the natural indentation of the foam, and that's kind of where I start making a new rock. I'll show you. Alright, so if you look right here, this doesn't look rock-like at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shave down the inside.
One thing you really ought to keep in mind is spray foam isn't rock or whatever you're trying to turn it into. We're just doing our best. Plus, all this is going to get painted and covered up with stuff anyways. Now let's skip forward to that. Now as for the paint, you ideally want to use a silicone based paint, and you're going to want to cover all of these areas. It's going to help seal. I'm using an acrylic based paint, and that's fine because it's going to get covered with silicone anyways. Regardless of what kind of paint you use, you're going to be using silicone on the foam. You could skip this step by using like a black silicone or a colored silicone. You just want to make sure it's going to be safe for your animals, water safe, all that stuff. Now that everything's painted, I realized that I forgot to put in the equipment to make the waterfall. So what I did is I took a razor blade and I cut a line down here and laid the hose, wrapped it around the edge and across the bottom over to the pump in the back. I also put my bottoms in just to make sure everything fits. I had to cut a little bit of that off, and then I also ran the electrical cord the same way by slicing and then putting it in and then out through the electrical cord port.
So here I made a mixture of sand and dirt. You can use coconut husk. Actually, it's probably preferred to use coconut husk, but I wanted this particular look. Now I'm just breaking off little pieces of wood in there just to have some texture. Some of these pieces of wood will be used, some of them won't. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be siliconing the expanding foam, and then we're going to be pouring this mixture on top of it. I'm also going to be using this terrarium starter kit here. It has just a bunch of different mosses, but if you don't buy this, you can go out and get some sphagnum moss, which is actually probably what you want to get. You'll get way more of it than what we got here. I just wanted to have a variety of moss, and I already have some mosses, so I figured it would be a good idea. The first moss we're going to use is sphagnum moss, which is right here. What we're going to do with the sphagnum moss is we're obviously going to get it out of the bag, and we're just going to mix it into this mixture. So now we're going to start the silicone process. You can do this with either clear silicone, black silicone, whatever's water safe, like I said before. But what we're going to do is we're going to cover the entirety of the top of this first with silicone, and then we're going to add our sand, dirt, sphagnum moss combination. You could use a paintbrush to do this, or you can do what I'm doing and just putting it on there, and I'm going to fill it in with my finger.
Now I am siliconing in the electrical wire and the hose for the pump in here. The electrical wire will pull out really easy even if I silicone it in, so that's not an issue.
Dirt and moss combination, you want to get it on there very evenly and nice. Once you pile it on, you can just kind of press it down like I am. I can probably get rid of this glove now.
A few moments later.
Take the aquarium, dump it on its side real quick. Just knock off everything that's loose. After we knocked off everything that was loose, this is what we got left. And I think that looks pretty much like the ground. Now the aquarium's on the side, and we're gonna repeat this process again until all of the styrofoam is covered.
The next day.
Alright, so I did quite a bit, and I forgot to record it. All I did was put my filter pads down, such as this one right here. I put all of them down in the back, except for this open area that I had cut out of the filter pad where the pump goes. And then I laid some of this terrarium mesh over those, and then added my sand to hold it down. There is terrarium mesh going all the way from this side to this side, front to back. All I did was I put the sand on it on both sides, used the sand over here to lift it up, have a different level, and then there's sand all the way to the back in the middle, and then I filled it with water to make sure that the hose ran, and it was going to be a waterfall. So as you can see, I placed this moss up here instead of having the dirt, and then I gave it a quick spray like this just to wet it so I could push it down and make it stick a little bit. And I planted this one plant here. Now I'm going to add some more plants, some more moss. I got these. They came as aquatic plant I got at Petco. And it didn't specify what kind of aquatic or terrarium plant. I'm so used to saying things about fish tanks. Put that there. That looks decent. Now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to plant the rest of the plants. This here, this is royal cushion moss, which I think is awesome, and I'm just going to break up a few pieces of this and jam it in some places. Decent right in here like I wanted it. That here, come over here. I also got this moss carpet here, which I am going to use a fair bit of this. I want to make this whole little section over here all moss. This is what we are left with right here. Got a little stream. The above view is a little bit better. Got all kinds of mosses and everything, and all that's left is to turn it on and add the newts.
So that's how I built my terrarium. These guys are going to be living in here for at least a few years, so I won't have to worry about making it fully aquatic anytime soon. If you guys have made it to the end of the video, be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be updated when more new videos come out just like this one. And until next time guys, peace.